Hello, can you see me? We are live right now. How is everyone doing? Make sure that if you have any questions, use that chat to leave your questions there. Um, we're just probably gonna wait for 5 more minutes before more people show up. But at the same time, I'm gonna give you some news about the previous open call. So Teresa actually sent me an email today, and I have been looking at um, looking at her selections, and I also have my own selections. Um, we have four pieces in common, so that means that four illustrations we both love, and one of them it's also in the Patreon page right now for people to vote. So one of the top three is actually one of the pieces that both of us love. So that's exciting. We are going to. I'm going to release the store. It's just like the previous open calls. I'm starting to release the illustration starting on Thursday, Friday and Saturday. I still need to wait for Teresa to tell me when she is going to post her favorite pics on her own account. But based on what I have seen from the open call, the submissions are really really strong, and you guys should be proud of yourself. And I do believe that at one point Teresa might want to collaborate with some of the illustrators in the future. So good luck. Um, and so far, how many people have already started to work on the Schiaparelli illustrations? Um, Before that, just make sure that you guys remember the deadline is August 13th, not 14th, just because 14th is my birthday, and I'm not willing to stay in front of my computer for an entire day to just collect the submissions. So, and I will tell you the reason why we have to put this open call in such a short period of time, just because when I was planning this open call, I was talking to Schiaparelli, and they actually approved the guideline, the brief. So whatever you read is basically something that I present them before, and they think that is really good. And I will explain to you what I know. One of the questions will be what is design innocence, which I will explain to you in a second. So at first, this open call is supposed to last till the end of August, but apparently they have a social media calendar, and they want to include this open call in the first 2 weeks of their social media calendar. So that is why I have to push it and announce the open call right away. At first, the open call was supposed to happen next week. So now you know it's a little bit rush. I was hoping that this August should be a chilling month, but then it looks like there's just a lot of things going on, and this is a really good opportunity for you to show your works to the brand. And also I feel like Daniel Roseberry is constantly looking at illustrations as well. So hopefully this time he will be like liking some of the illustrations as well. But one note, this is really strange. This is I have done so many open calls, and this is probably the first time that I have experienced. A lot of people have already tagged me with their existing Schiaparelli illustrations, and I'm not sure if those people have read the instructions. I don't really. First of all, I can tell you that those people tag me or try to send me the illustrations. They actually don't fit the guideline at all. Most of them are runway illustrations, and rule number two is when you submit your illustration, you are not supposed to upload the illustration until August 16th. So, just for those of you who just joined and then have been like is new to this community, I just want to remind you that please make sure that you read the instruction, and also don't post anything until August 16th. But you have to email your illustration to me. So this is sort of like a housekeeping note. I will leave some really heavy stuff later on, but we will probably just go over with all the questions first. I have 3 questions so far, and if you guys have any more questions about this open call, please like write it in the comment, because this is important. I can tell you that the pieces I pick will probably be different than the pieces Schiaparelli pick. So, but the theme is the same. So I can explain to you exactly how we want the submissions to be. So, the first question is: do we have to draw a Schiaparelli design in our own style? Yes, you have to. Make sure that you choose an outfit or multiple outfits from the fall and winter Haute Couture collection, not the regular ready to runway. This is a big mistake. This actually happened before once. Like someone decided to send me the wrong collection. So make sure that it's the fall and winter Haute Couture collection. And you are not creating a new outfit. You are using the existing outfit from the collection. The second question is GIF animation allowed? If so, do we submit the GIF and a still image as well? Um, if you actually look at Schiaparelli, when they post the illustrations, they usually do it in a gallery. So I don't really know if they actually want to do animation. I have no clue. But if you think that your strength is in animation, definitely do it. But at the same time, give me a still image so that I can submit to them as well. They probably will use the still image mostly. Um, another 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 thing that I want to talk about is the size of the submission. If they're actually going to do the gallery style, I would suggest everyone to actually create the illustration in square format. Because if you create a really big rectangle format, the vertical one, there is a chance that part of the image might crop out. And I don't know if they're going to have the apps to actually resize the image to make sure it fit in the square frame. So I don't really have a definite answer for you about the size, but if you guys can do it in square format, that might be the best way to go. I remember previously some people sent in like uh, a rectangular size, and then when I look at the Schiaparelli account when they post the illustrations, they just crop out part of the image. So something to think about. And try to make sure that all the elements are in the middle instead of on the side. Because at one point, if some illustrators decide to do a rectangle, vertical rectangle, and then if you can do it in a gallery style, they might they might crop the square as well. And as long as you have all the major elements in the middle, then you should be safe. Like there is no guarantee on that. But for me, when I do it, if I know that your illustration, if I need to reform, like usually I post it one by one, so that shouldn't be a problem. But the thing that you need to really take into consideration is when you create that canvas, will that image actually fit in Instagram? Because a lot of times, you guys submit the illustrations to me, it's bigger, it's wider, and I have to resize it, and actually, it loses that kind of attractiveness. Because when I look at the image, I have to create like black borders or like white background, and then put the illustration in to make sure that it fit the feet. So make sure that when you create your submissions, make sure it fits the Instagram size. not your own size. Um, how big is the? I will say, as I said, um, how big in pixel? Okay, this is what I usually do when I actually post my Instagram post. I usually resize all the illustrations to 1000 pixel as the width, just because Instagram is not going to show all the big details. So what I would suggest is you can do it in a really like you can do the HD illustration, but then when you decide to send me the submissions, you can just give me the 1000 pixel version. That will save space, like, and it will be easier to be in the inbox than in the spam folder. One of the things I will tell you is if you actually send me a really big illustration, if you say it's 7 meg, 10 meg, there's a really good percentage that Gmail will think this is a spam mail and will put it in the junk mail. And there's a chance that I will never get to see it. Even though I try to check it, but sometimes I will forget. So make sure you you don't that's why I always suggest you guys to do under below 5 meg. Yeah, so um a lot of you guys are safe, but some people actually send me a 25 megabytes illustration, and there is actually no purpose for me to have such a big file. I'm not using it as a print. I'm not doing it with anything. So keep the big file to yourself, but send me the smaller file. If we do it by hand on paper, what size of paper would you recommend getting? Uh, A4 size. I think A4 size should actually fit into the Instagram feed. You should give it a try. But at the same time, try to, because once you're done with your illustration, you still have to scan it. So make sure when you scan the image, you did all the editing. Try to post like try to do a mock-up on your Instagram post and see if that image can fit the entire like square or the box without cutting any of the image. Um Paper size doesn't really matter because if you're going to scan it, you probably have to use Photoshop or some apps to resize the image. As I said, super recommend you guys this time to put everything in the center and not on the side, because I still don't know how many people are going to watch this. Some people decided to do it their own thing and they did amazing, and Schiaparelli choose it, and the size will be like a gigantic rectangle. And if they decide to do a gallery pose, that size is gonna like change a lot of things, and you might lose all the things on the side. Just you will only have the middle part left. Um, so I hope that answer that question. And okay, so this is the most important part about design innocence. What does that mean? So if I when I read Daniel Roseberry's quote in the press release, he said that he wants to go back to the point where he loves to design. He's not really about creating images that or designs or outfits that needs to cater people. It's all about his own fulfillment, um, creating things that make him feel good. Which makes me think about, so when you are a kid, what kind of things that make you happy? What kind of artworks that makes you feel, wow, I really like to do this kind of stuff? Or when you draw, what kind of style actually makes you happy when you draw? You're not really catering the outside people, you're catering yourself. And at the same time, how do you define beauty? Because beauty is really broad. You can say I love you can say Kendall Jenner or like those supermodels are beauties, but at the same time you can say I define my friends as beauties. So this is a task for you to think about what beauty means to you, what creative innocence means to you. For example, for me, if I need to create an illustration, when it comes to creative innocence, I will be like, I love forest. I love the nature. I love night scene. I love futuristic forests with like glowing on the plants. Think about Avatar. That is sort of where I see joy and I see beauty. And I can see like fairies dancing around in different shapes and different sizes. They're dressing really funky outfits. They're doing different things. That makes me happy. But whatever I have in my mind might not cater everyone. So this is something that you will need to think about. What does in design innocence and what does beauty mean to you? Where can we find the directions? There's no the direction is okay. If you have not seen the open call page, can someone actually leave that link down if anyone is on the computer and just leave that link so you know the open call brief. So the I will continue about the creative innocence. It's you need to draw from your heart, not draw from what people think you should draw, and create a really, really beautiful scene. Or in that picture, show me what beauty is in your own world. Um, it sounds really abstract, but when you start drawing as an artist, you will know what makes you happy, what makes you feel that joy. Um, if no one is doing it, let me just look. Give me 1 second. Uh, oh, so give me one. So here is the link. Um, Madison, this is where the brief is. So make sure that you read it. And if and continue to ask me questions. Please ask me any questions you guys have because this can be super abstract. You guys can even give me examples and ask if this is you are on the right direction. Because if you don't ask me questions, I assume that you understand the brief, and I will just say, okay, good luck with your open call. Um, what else do I have to say? Yes, no, again, no runway illustrations. Even though I have received the submissions already, yeah, it's really fast this time. Someone already, like, I have already received like a few pieces. Um, I don't feel like they get the grasp of what design innocence means. And so this is the time that I really want you guys to think deep as an artist. What makes you happy? What beauty means to you? Because, for example, in all the I have seen a lot of Instagram accounts. Some people draw different fashion illustrations. I have seen different shapes and sizes, and in that account, like in those accounts, I always see beauty in those pieces because in probably in that artist world, this is what I define as beauty. I'm sorry, I'm really new to this. So basically, the illustration is supposed to be based on one of the outfits. Yes, you can base on one, or you can pick a few pieces and illustrate, but no runway illustrations. I okay. Um, what do you not get about creative innocence? Because I just talk about the whole definition, like my example of creative innocence. Yes. I mean, so it's right. So it's like what you love from your heart, and do the design that you choose to draw. And for example, in that collection, maybe you will see a specific outfit that you really like, and it triggers your maybe your world, and you can create that world. If you're doing portrait, maybe there's a particular um face or particular like accessories that makes you want to draw that, but you need to show you need to first of all you need to enjoy it, because I can actually see from your works whether you enjoy the work, enjoy drawing it or not. Some of the submissions I receive are really like, "Hmm, that's okay." They don't really put a lot of effort, but I also see a lot of people decide to put a lot of effort and create some masterpieces to actually build for their portfolios. So remember, this kind of open call is aside from getting exposure, aside from letting Schiaparelli to see your work, you want to make sure that you're proud of this piece and put it in your portfolio. So can I write a phrase on the illustration? Yes, as long as it fits. If your world involves words, involves different like phrases, as long as you incorporate that with the Schiaparelli outfit, then you should be okay to do it. That's fine. I have no problem with it. But don't make, but make sure that the illustration is still the focus point, not just the words. Um, so what kind of things should I go over? Do you want me to go over the creative innocence one more time? Like, do you get it, or you want me to explain it again? While I do that, let me see if I can find let me see if I can find the Schiaparelli press release. So let me see if I can sort of read it. Give me 1 second. So when you create, so this kind of open call is all about creating editorials. Think about when you create, when a magazine um, commission you to create editorials. They usually give you a brief, give you a theme, and consider this as the open call. Like consider this open call is a brief from a magazine, and my task for you is to create an editorial that represents you and also shows your world. And because once you're done with this kind of open calls, you can consider to start adding like a section in your portfolio saying that this is a mock-up editorial, this is a mock-up project. And because when a client looks at your website or your PDF file, they probably want to know what you're good at. Do you have any examples to show? If you do live sketching, do you have some live sketch for me to see? Do you have, if you can draw perfume bottles, do you have examples for me to see? If you have, let me see, if you are doing, you want to apply for editorial job, can you actually show me what kind of editorials you can make? And for that, you also will have to like create some structure as well. This part it's on Patreon right now. We are doing another open call for the Patreon members where we teach you how to create the right mock-up project and how do you present this to your clients. So for now, if you are not part of Patreon, all I can say is you understand this brief, you create the right editorial, and then you start to create. When you're done with this piece, you create your portfolio, and you can just say this piece is based on something like based on Schiaparelli, and the theme is about being design innocence, and also like this is the version, like this is my version of beauty. So basically it's all about artistic freedom. I think this kind of beauty comes when you are not trying to fit somewhere, but when you're free. Yes, just focus on the collection, but freestyle. Give yourself like the freedom to try different things. Give yourself the freedom to do something really, really cool. If you really want to explore a new style, absolutely go for it, because that style might be something that you're gonna love. Let your heart guide you. not let your this is really like this is sort of like a wellness thing. Let your heart guide you, not let your brain guide you. So first of all, my first advice is look at the collection, see which outfit speaks to you. And then based on that outfit, think about how it's going to fit your own world, like your world of beauty. How does that fit, aligned? And then you can start to create that illustration. And that's why I want you to continue to create the mood board and post it on Instagram so I can show it to the world so everyone will know, oh, okay, yeah, this is how you create this illustration. It's really important to actually have a mood board to go with this illustration because once you see the mood board, you will know exactly what you need to draw. So, in the meantime, let me just look at the Schiaparelli. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to read it. So here's the press release. I'm not gonna post it, so but I'm just gonna read it. All of us who work in fashion know that much of the rest of the world thinks that what we do is silly. It's a boring criticism, and we argue otherwise. But if you think about it, fashion is silly at times. It's also provocative, unpending, challenging, and meaningful. It's breathtaking. It's beautiful. In recent years, though, it's felt like fashion has tried its hardest to prove it actually isn't silly. The pressure designers feel to make a statement about the current political situation, our ongoing climatic disaster, the inequalities among people of different races and genders, and an age of war has in fact led to some extraordinary work, not to mention our re engagement of our industry with the broader culture. But it's also lead to a sometimes dre- self self seriousness. One of the forefront fashions with ugh, I don't even know that word. Okay, so it's easy to be self serious. The more difficult path is remaining an engaged member of society while also in one's work, daring to return to a kind of creative innocence, to the state of wonder and awe we all felt when we saw our first transcending shows. I always talk about trying to achieve that state of creative innocence, of fighting to stay close to that person who fell in love with fashion and its possibilities, of not succumb. Can I skip that? Yes. I hope that spirit comes through in this collection. I hope people who sees it can tell what fun the team and I had making it. I hope the joy we felt of creating things, of getting to make beautiful objects that people will always remember is evident in every coat, dress, and accessory. I think we sometimes get defensive when our critics accuse us of just wanting to make beautiful things. But what's wrong with wanting to make beautiful things? It's not the only important part of life, of course, but it is a part of life. And to make truly beautiful things isn't actually that easy, but it is a privilege. And I'm grateful for it every day. So I think based on what I just read, some of the words is just too complicated. You will probably get the idea of what you are looking for. You are looking for the design innocence. You are really drawing from your heart this time. Um, so aside from Schiaparelli looking at should the story of the illustration somehow refers Schiaparelli or parts of the history of the brand, you can do that if you want to. Not against it, but again, the focus point should be on the haute couture collection. Should you put your own signature on the illustration? Absolutely. But when you submit your illustration, um, you don't necessarily try not to put a watermark on it, a big watermark, because if you put a big watermark, it sort of disturb the entire composition. It's sort of disturb the way that how I see your illustration. So that is why I recommend you to send not a high resolution, maybe medium resolution image to me because when you post on Instagram, it's not going to be a HD image anyway. Um, can you please talk more about the So if you create a mood board, so first of all, I will recommend you the first step is think about what your version of beauty is. You should be thinking about what makes you happy, what makes you think, oh, this is beautiful. And the second part is you should think about what kind of world you want to create. Um, I think creative innocence is everyone inside has a particular world. Like for example, I feel like when I look at Daniel Roseberry's collection, it's all about the rebirth. It's about the nature. It's about flowers. Um, it's about those really 40s, 50s women. And that's how he created that collection. So when it comes to your creative innocence, what is what makes you happy? What makes you go like, I always want to go back that world as a reference? So that is how you're going to create the mood board. You start to put things together. You start to pick the outfits that you want to draw. Start to put like some elements. Maybe you like the girls to be in a forest, maybe in your world. That's what makes you happy. And try to put them all together. Um, does that make sense to you? Yeah, this is a really abstract subject. I know that it's hard, but I feel like once you start working, you will get the whole momentum and you will know exactly what to draw. Um, any questions? Just the illustrations. For the mood board, you can actually just post it on Instagram. So as I said, Schiaparelli and I will always be looking at your stories. I will basically repost as many stories as possible as long as you tag me, show me your mood board, show me your work in progress. Um, then probably you might get more people to look at your work. Because sometimes I can tell you that when you actually show the mood board on Instagram stories, when I see it, and then when I collect your submissions, when I see your submissions, I can actually see the reference. I'll be like, oh, okay, this is really cool. Like you actually follow the mood board. Whereas I know some some artists basically just randomly put a mood board, and then when I see the when I see the submission, it's two different things. So don't do it just for the show. Do it for yourself because this is usually how you create editorials for magazines. Like either they provide you with a mood board or you have to create a mood board to show them what you want to do for this editorial. So this is sort of like a little training for you to tackle like jobs. Especially I know a lot of you guys want to work with brands, a lot of you guys want to work with magazines. And I am just making sure that you guys are on the right path. Okay, what's next? What kind of questions you guys have before we get to some heavier stuff? Any? You guys have no questions? Okay, so uh, all right. I'm gonna talk about this. Is probably gonna be hard for me to talk about as well. Um, but this could probably be. Oh, okay. Wait. Can we post assumed in sneak peek and mood board as supposed before the deadline? Yes, you can, as long as you don't post the entire image. Do not post the final image until August 16th. That's all. Or 16 or 18. Let me just take a look. 18. Don't post anything until August 18th. But if you want to post a sneak peek and stuff, you can do that. Okay. So I will just make sure that if get any more questions on Instagram, because some people still love to leave. Okay, there's nothing. All right, so here comes the heavy part because you guys have the right to know about it, and I want to be super transparent about what's going on, the future of Draw Dot. As of this moment, this could probably be the last Yes, the last big open call I am going to do. Patreon members, don't worry. I will still continue to do what I have been doing because that's not going. That is what's that for. Currently, I am exploring some different opportunities. And let's just put it that way. I have I've been really I know that I have been really supportive to this community. But then when it comes to your support, I don't really get a lot from you guys. Um, it's really I have been doing this for full time for the past 2 years, and as of this moment, there is no way I can sustain myself just to run this community because no one really wants to like subscribe. Like I have like members obviously, but I don't really have a lot of people wanting to support me on Patreon. If I probably have only like 0.1% of this community subscribe to Patreon. Um, and you have to understand that I have to do a lot of things to create this kind of open call, talk to brands, even have meetings and do all this kind of stuff. And most of the open calls I do, even though the brands approve, I'm not getting a single penny from it. Whereas I know you guys have been entering this kind of open call and you guys have been making private commissions. I know. I'm happy for you guys, but it actually gives me no benefit for me. Um, I want to continue to keep the community running, but without any monetary support, I won't be able to do it. So I would just say that I do have the Patreon. Patreon members, don't worry. Again, I will continue to operate that. But there is also a place where you can actually just sort of subscribe $1. I'm not asking a lot because if a lot of people, if at least 2,000 people can subscribe just $1, that will actually help me to pay bills and rent. I'm not using your money to like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Um, but if I don't even get that money support, it's hard for me to continue to explore more things for you guys. It's not something that I want to do it. And I talk to you guys a lot as well. I see your struggle. That's why I never really like asking for, oh, I need your support. But as of this moment, after 2 years, I really don't see the community really want to support me as if like okay yeah I want to keep getting from you but then when I ask oh okay you know what you can subscribe so that I can continue to build this community and make it a better place for you asking for like work for you to make sure that I get more exposure for you guys or maybe get more job opportunities for you guys or do more open calls that will benefit your career path. um I love to do that, but reality is not really helping me much at this moment. So if I do have other opportunities that show up, I probably will take really fewer time to be on draw dot. I love this community. I will always want to talk to you guys, but when there is a job, I probably have to work on that 9 to 5. I won't be able to like talk to you guys every day like this or do live anymore. So that's why it's important for you guys to actually be here right now listening to me and ask me questions because this could possibly be the last YouTube live. As I said, if you guys want to support me, because a lot of things can change, I'm gonna put this link here because all as I said, all I care is if everyone can pitch in $1. It's like $12 per year. And that can actually change a lot of things. I might be able to create a bigger community. I thought about doing different things. Um, because if there are a lot of members decide to, if a lot of people have decided to join, I can also change the whole structure of Patreon so that everyone can pay less and then participate and learn more from me. Because at that part, I will feel like, oh, you know what? It makes more sense for me to keep going. But sure, I'm an agent, I'm doing this and that, but those are jobs that don't always give me the stable income. And Patreon is sort of like something that I will constantly get a stable monthly income. And without that, if people keep going and leaving, um, I don't, to be honest, like at this moment, I don't know if I'm doing a good job because I know that you guys have been supporting other programs, like maybe doing entering different contests where you pay a certain amount, or you go to some classes that you pay a certain amount. Um, and sometimes I wonder, is it because I'm not doing the right job for you, or I'm not helping you guys to get the right exposure that you guys decide that, oh, you know what, it's okay to like not support you. Like mentally, I would support you, but monetary wise, I don't have the money. Like I also I remember when I first designed Patreon, I also have to think about, okay, there's students there, there's some people that not making a lot of money. How can I make sure that I can set a really like fair price to give you the maximum benefit? And I think this Patreon program, I have done it for 2 years, and I see people come and go, come and go. Um, and sometimes I also get really, I don't know how to say. It's really weird because sometimes when I do different sessions, not a lot of people show up, and then later on they drop out. Not, and then I don't know why. They sometimes like, oh, this benefits don't work for me. So if this benefits don't work for you, I want to know what kind of things you guys want. Something that it's sort of still there is a gap there that I don't really understand. But as I said, this is what happened. This is reality. Um, I don't, unless there's a brand that decides to approach me and do something, I might consider. But after that, I don't really think I will spend a lot of energy with the public community just because the public community is not really giving what I I can do right now. But for Patreon, don't worry. Like as I said, opportunities wise, um, if my own roster cannot do those jobs, I usually will split it out and then give it to different. Like I will give the job to the Patreon members. That's where I want you guys to get the maximum benefit. So, um, yeah. So okay. So let me see. Okay. So I thought about being a part of Patreon group that but don't think I'm good enough. This is what it's about. Patreon group is not about getting the best artists in this group. It is for you guys to join and learn because everyone has a different path, and there is a really good Discord where we talk about different things. There are so many different artists in the group with different styles, and they start at different phase. And I think what I'm trying to provide is I give you the guidelines, I give you different videos, I tell you different opportunities. I will bring in guests and help you to build different things for your portfolio. I think if Sandra is here, maybe you can actually type it up and just let people know what Patreon is because you're a Patreon member or someone in this chat room that is in the Patreon. So it's not, I feel like there is this misunderstandings like if you join the Patreon, it must be a good group. Like I must be really good. No, in fact, there are people who just started out, or some people just like, you know what, I want to get into this. You don't need to you don't need to subscribe every month. Like basically you can you can decide to cancel it at the end of each month. You can just like join it and then for a few months, and then after like join now, 3 months later, you know what? I really don't get what I want. Or you can talk to me and see if I can create something for you. And if you don't think this is the right group, then you can just still like cancel the account and don't like and then continue to look continue to enjoy the Instagram account that I post every day. Or hopefully maybe there'll be some other open call that I can get or create in the future. Um, I think the problem is most fashion. Let me see. I think the problem is most illustrators here don't think of fashion illustration as a career, as they don't want to invest, but they don't realize if we don't invest in ourselves, we won't get anywhere. That's true. At the same time, for me in that group, I go more than just fashion illustrations. I will tell you more career path that you can pursue. Fashion illustrator is just one thing. I mean, fashion illustration is just one thing out of the big umbrella of illustration. I have seen a lot of people changing different career path throughout the years. And I can tell you exactly what kind of things you can do. You can be a print designer. You can be a stationery designer. Those are all the things you can do. And fashion is just an element to enhance your drawing. If you keep that in mind, then you will know there's actually a lot of possibilities. Um, Thank you. Yes. Yeah. So as I said, I don't know the future yet, but as of this moment, I have to really like make a change. And this open call is probably a really good way to end this and maybe give me a break to actually think about what I want to do later on. And as I said, when I do have other things to do, then you will get less opportunity to talk to me or even do any live like this because I probably won't have time to do it. Um, so, and as a member right now, Patreon members right now, you actually get to see all the videos I have recorded in the past 2 years, from NFT talking to a textile illustrator who create prints for dreads to different. I don't even remember. I have done a lot of things. Coming up, we're gonna teach you how to build your like sort of portfolio to pitch to clients. Because we have a professor from Parsons who's going to like be our guest speaker. We talk about we teach you how to like we do even do like a watercolor workshop, and we teach you how to like scan the proper image if you do hand drawn illustrations. So there's actually a lot of things that I see, and then especially I know a lot of people want to get feedback from me for their submissions. I don't talk about I don't usually give feedback to like open call submissions, but I do in our Patreon group. We actually sit down together every month to go over our Patreon open call submissions. So this is a time that we will talk about how you can improve your illustration and how can you make it better. And another way is I'm trying, like I'm working to give you guys a chance to sell at the online store. So you know how to create your online store. You have your marketing strategy. You know how to build your mailing list so that when you create your own online store, you won't have to close it in 3 months. So those are the things that I'm more focused on the business side. And of course, if you say that, oh, you know what, I'm doing as a hobby, then don't worry about it. Like, because a lot of people treat this as a hobby as well. Um, is there a page or link that goes over the difference in membership besides the main pages? Because there is not much info under the. Yeah, the $1. Okay, so the $1 is just a support group. I will tell you the difference right now if you are interested in knowing. So the $1 is just supporting me to continue to work on this community. Hopefully, as I said, if I do get a lot of people joining, I might open a complete different Discord, different than the Patreon, and maybe we'll have more general stuff there. And if we can get more people in that group as in the $1 tier as well, I might consider to drop the price of every single tier so that we all can get benefit from this group. So the $5 right now, the $5 tier is where you get the private open call, the Patreon open call, and also you will get a week of advance of knowing the public open call topic. And the $10 here is where you get everything. So you get the power to vote for the winner of an open call. We call that the Patreon winner. You get you have the power to actually choose the topic for the next open call. If I'm not working with brands, again, this is something that I'm planning. I'm thinking what to do next. And then you will get to join all the Zoom sessions and watch all the videos. And of course, the Discord group. The Discord is where the heart of this community is. We talk a lot of different things. We help each other there. We give each other advice. We also have like a private good. If you join a certain private Patreon open call, we have a different like section as well because some of the artists are creating a collection for the online store and we talk there as well. So this, and then there is also the $60 group where you get to go one-on-one on Zoom call with me and we go over portfolios, we go over different things. So that is the part, like I usually would just say you only need once from me or twice from me, and then afterwards you can drop it back to $10 if you want to use other features. Um, so we also have like some mentors who will be able to help you and jump in from the chat room like from time to time. But yeah, like I can tell you that the more people that decide to talk, the more people that can involve, that will trigger the mentors want to join the chat room to talk more. But if no one wants to talk in that chat room, then sometimes the mentors will be like, I don't feel like I'm useful at all at this moment. Um, so yeah, I also talk about like I do want to do more YouTube videos as well. Basically, I want to feature you. I want to do more interesting projects and put it on the website so that you will get the right sort of. I feel like a lot of artists don't necessarily have the press page ready, so that little like this kind of projects I do and I put it on the website can give you a little kick to your press page. Um, so those are the things that I'm telling you, like what you can do with Patreon. And I usually am on the Discord like almost 24/7, aside from sleeping. If not, you can ask like those artists. I usually will respond really fast. Yeah. Yep. Patreon open call winners depends on different like open calls. They will be able to sell their works at the online store. And I will tell you that Patreon members always get the first dip on all the news that what I'm doing. I still remember um, the Gucci Adidas one. I first broke the news to the group. Same with the Schiaparelli. They know it way beforehand. So now they have more time to prepare. I even told them it's tight, but then I know with one extra week they can do proper research and know exactly what to do. So that's all. Like again, things can change. If there's a shift with Patreon, if there are more people joining, I probably would say, you know what, I will stay and continue to focus on building this community. But if not, then that means that you probably doesn't really need my help at the at the moment, and I will probably have to do some other things. And we'll come back to you guys when I have enough like money to sustain myself. So, um, any questions or any things you guys want to say? I like since this could be the last session, so might as well just ask me as many questions as you want. The support tier, yeah, as I said, $1 is totally fine. Don't need to be a lot. If we, as I said, I have 80K. I can trust Instagram right now. I don't know how many like followers I actually do have or how many ghost followers I have right now. But if I can have 2,000, 3,000 people subscribe to the $1 tier, I could be able to sustain myself and I can continue to explore opportunities for you guys. And I can create more interesting things for you. As I said, by that time, I will probably have to restructure the entire Patreon. So everyone in the group can probably pay less. Yeah, I think $1 is it's not a lot I'm asking for. It's just like supporting me to continue to do a good job. Um, I can have more time to like figure out what I can do for you guys. That's pretty much it. Like I will just think about the Beyonce theories. Like if everyone decide to buy one copy of the Beyonce album, then if there's 10,000 people buying it, then she could be loaded. So, but for me, I'll be like, if everyone decide to pitch in $1, if there's 2,000 or 3,000 people, then yes, that will sustain my rent. That will sustain my daily expense. Then I can continue to 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 be the founder, be the leader of this group, and be the voice of this community. So yes, I'm recording this right now, so anyone can watch it after. But yeah, this is something that I want to break the news to you guys before you guys start to ask me, it's like, what's going on? Because you have the right to know about this. You guys have been following me so many years. You guys have been joining like many open calls. I have seen a lot of you guys become really successful. So it's really like, so I feel like, oh, it's important that you guys join today and understand the situation. Not saying that I will be giving up this community. It's just like I don't know if I will be spending less time on this community when I have other things to do. So you will probably still see me doing daily update, but if you ask me to do more project with brands, too bad I am not an influencer because if I am an influencer, I probably will like talk to brands. Like I will have all the contacts with brands, then we can do more things. But to to be honest, a lot of brands still don't really understand how fashion illustrations can work with their brand. So it's still in a trial and error mode. And we probably have to like work with more brands in the future to really show what this community can do, because in a sense I can tell you that with the Adidas Gucci open call, I think the hype had stretched more than 2 weeks, because after we announced the winners and stuff, I still see people drawing it, and and I have people actually came to me and say, "Hey, if not because you're open call, I wouldn't even know there's a collection." So, and I actually bought something from there. So, there is a way to make it work, but to at as of this moment, we are all trying to figure out what's the best way to move this community forward and how I can continue to connect with brands as long as I have the time. So it's pretty direct. I don't want to like give you any like false hope. So this Schiaparelli one, it's something that could be the last. So make sure that you give your 120% or 200% to create this submission. Because after that, I don't know who will or who I can approach to do another um, open call like this. And again, I am not making any money from this. This honestly is for you. Like from what I know with the Adidas Gucci open call, which I am gonna point that out. Someone said, "Hey, you guys are doing this open call, cool. You're basically doing free work for the brand." Um, I can tell you that originally Gucci has no desire to post any of the stuff and have no desire to actually create a page to highlight the illustrators. all they say is, sure, we can give some gifts away, like you can show it to me, and then we can pick some winners, and then we can just maybe pick 3 winners, and then we just give them gifts, but you don't have to mention that we are directly involved. And so it's because of you guys decided to push that boundary, keep going, showing all your works, that actually give Gucci's like, oh my God, this community is really, really crazy and they have really, really good stuff. And we should really highlight the illustrators. And they are not really using this to promote the product. Sure, they have a page with the illustrations, but they have not really used those illustrations on the webs on the Instagram to actually say, "Hey, buy this product." No, what they really want to do right now is they want to highlight you guys, give you guys a spotlight, and this is the power. Yes, as you said, this is the power of people. If not because of you guys, it won't be that big. And right now, I don't even know what the future will be with this Schiaparelli open call. Maybe they will do something really special for you guys. But again, it all depends on the quality of the work that you guys are going to submit. So, and my job is I have to collect, I have to make sure that they're happy with the results. And another thing that I will say is every time when there is an open call, when you're doing with, when I need to contact a brand, they also have some kind of expectation. So that pressure is also on me. Like your pressure is probably like creating the good illustration for people to for them to see. But for me, it's like I need to make sure that the quality is good, and also there's enough numbers to actually submit to them. And um, I'm not saying you guys are not doing good job. Like the previous open call, it was good, but there were only like a handful of submissions, not a lot. So this also actually that also triggered me to actually maybe need to put a stop on open calls, is because when I asked you guys if you guys want to participate like the next open call, you want to support new designers, I have a lot of people saying yes, yes, yes. But when it comes to the point that um when I'm getting really the real submissions, I don't get a lot. It's like probably 20% of what this community vote yes. So that number is pretty disappointing. And I can also tell you that working with a smaller brand usually will give you a higher chance to work with them in the future than fighting for a spot with a big brand like this, because usually big brands have their own illustrate illustration department, whereas new brands don't necessarily have the illustration department. They will have to work with illustrators to create something amazing. So this is like an important tip for you guys to think about. Like there's nothing good or wrong, but I can say that if the last open call was based on Del Pozo, I probably will- I probably will receive at least 200 entries. This is a reality. And this is why I will tell you that as of this moment, I don't think that I will be exploring new designers because the community is not responsive with this. Even though they want to participate, they don't actually really participate in the end. And you can tell me in the comments, say the reason why you don't want to participate, because that's a really good feedback for me to understand what I should be doing in the future as well. Um, it again, the quality is good. People who participated good, but the number wise, it was Gucci is like this. The last one was like this. It's just like a shop fall. So I I will have to like completely remove that whole new designer part for a pretty long while, unless someone really really wants, like unless the community really really wants me to do it again. So um yeah, like Madison, no worries. I'm just saying that in general, this is like how this is how I'm just an observer, right? Because I'm always in the middle. I'm middle person who actually get the works from you guys, and then I have to send it to the brands or do something else. So I know I have all the stats, and I know who's in, who's not, and like when I do the Instagram stories, I know who want to participate, who doesn't want to participate. But when I see the participate, I already know that, oh, okay, maybe if there's 100 people, maybe like 30 or 40 people might not be able to participate. There'll probably still be 60, but in the end, it's less than that. So again, this free session, any questions for me, anything you want to ask, I want to give you guys the best before I probably take a break. Like, tell me what you really think right now. It seems to be a platform well worth the money considering how much we. Yes, trust me. $10 a month if you want all the full benefits is not a lot. It's just like maybe two Starbucks latte per month. Yes, I know two young designers, and it was really hard for them to understand why this would be beneficial. I really tried to convince them, so I think you are right. Brands don't really understand the role of fashion illustrator like they used to in the 50s and 80s. Um, for this part, you can also put, I mean, you can put a blame on fashion magazines because fashion magazines used to use illustrations. And that's why everyone wants to, everyone thinks that, oh, fashion illustration is really cool because it will be shown on magazine. But let's put it that way in the 80s, when, when you know who became the editor in chief of Vogue, that person decided to change the whole landscape by highlighting celebrities in fashion clothing, and all they do is editorials, and that's why people start to lose interest in fashion illustration. So that's something that I see, but at the same time, as you can see, Prada is still really like, I know they still support fashion illustration. Hermes is all about fashion illustration. If you look at their account right now, um, Gucci, Schiaparelli, they know why we need fashion illustration. Um, Even Valentino, like they will commission artists to actually do this kind of stuff for their campaigns. So there's still some brands out there who love fashion illustrations, but and Marc Jacobs, Jeremy Scott, Moschino, those brands. You can see there's still some brands that love this kind of stuff. So all I can say is give you the advice I can give is continue to do it. Just like this open call, do it from your heart. Don't do it from your brain because if you do it from the brain, if Instagram change algorithm again like like last week, you will get really really upset because right now sometimes I'll be like, oh, I need to celebrate even having like 100 likes. It's so crazy, but I do it because I really believe in those artists and I really love those artworks. That's why I still want to feature them. And of course, if there's a better platform in the future, I would love to like jump on board and continue to expand this community. Um, yeah, it's not necessarily losing opportunities, but people put priorities like they think photos speak better to the audience than illustrations. That's why I really want you guys to steer away from runway illustration because runway illustration is based on photos. And if consumers or even like your clients see that, oh, well, what's the difference between an illustration and a photo because it's a direct copy. But what you can do is if you can show them a whole different world, let's just say, if you decide to create a setting as for this open call, just like example, you are thinking about the goddess. You're thinking about the Greek mythology, and then you place the Schiaparelli girls in heaven doing different things. That opens their eyes. They were like, "Oh, okay, I never thought about that." And maybe if I need to pitch a photographer, there could be a lot of elements. I need to pay them a lot of money to create those sets, the girls and models. But with illustration, the imagination is limitless. You can do whatever you want. So that might convince the client later on in the future. It's like, you know what? I would rather hire an illustrator to create that world than to have a photographer doing it because A, budget wise, is cheaper. And B, you can do more interesting things. So if you guys can start to have that kind of mindset to approach fashion illustration, you probably see a whole different world. And don't compete with photos. Don't compete with like the Instagram algorithm. Do it through what you think is making you happy. Um, any any other questions you guys want to ask? I can probably stay for like 20 more minutes, but if you guys have nothing to ask, then I can probably like. I think this had to do with the fashion industry increased move towards commercialization and further away from art. It's gotten really aggressive in the past decade. Even the academia. Yep, it's true. You also can. I want to phrase it really nicely, but I really can't do that. So you can also think about what is going on with the culture, the pop culture in the world right now. Um, a lot of people basically are just buying clothes based on like big logos, or because the price tag is expensive, I should buy it. I'm not gonna name that brand because I think that brand shouldn't be in my conversation. But people are just buying it because of the dollar sign, because of the brand logo. It's about the aesthetic of their wealth. So a lot of designer houses right now, they're like, honestly, if I'm going to create some really interesting clothing, no one's probably going to buy. But if I'm going to slap a logo on a sweatshirt, or I create oversized T-shirts or like a jacket, people will probably buy. Then I probably will make more profit from it. So they decide to go for that route. So in this case, they don't really need to have a really artistic campaign. I would say the only ad campaigns I still look at are probably like Prada, Versace, um, sometimes Chanel. Um, Dior is not that fancy anymore. It used to be really fancy. Um, yeah, that's pretty much. Oh, Miu Miu. Miu Miu sometimes has really interesting ads. So, yeah, you need more Nick Knight quality campaigns, but Nick Knight probably is expensive. So, a lot of brands decide like, no, we're not gonna hire you to do this kind of stuff right now. Maybe it will go back to you will probably only see this kind of stuff on Lady Gaga's like ad campaign. And speaking of that, like if you right now it's basically the Lady Gaga hype because Lady Gaga is traveling around the world for the tour, and the clothes she's wearing is probably one of the talking points. So if you guys love, you can probably illustrate those outfits as well because you probably will get some good feedback from the community or from Instagram. Um, Speaking of that tour, you can also think about like Garrett Pugh. Garrett Pugh is one of my favorite designers in like the early 2000s to like 2015. He disappeared. He's a really talented designer, but again, no one's gonna wear his stuff. Um, if you can see right now, the trend, like the clothing that are made in 2022, is really different than the clothing that were made into 2012. Everything in 2012 is really, really like artistic. It's really, really cool. Most of the clothing on the runway shows they are not necessarily wearable. but they look really, really good in a tutorial. But when you look at all the clothing right now on the runway, every single piece is wearable. There is nothing innovative. And to be honest, um, if we have more, if we have more artists like Kanye West decided to throw this whole easy collection out in in those like sort of like garbage bag thing, and if his fans continue to love that, there is no way this fashion industry can continue to move forward with innovative designs. It will just go back to like oversized hoodies, oversized this and that, because it's a celebrity effect. If I like that celebrity, I'm gonna buy the clothing. The clothing is not well made. The clothing is expensive, but because it's a logo, it's sort of a sex saying that, oh, I have it, you don't have it, so I'm cool, you are not. But to me, I think fashion is about representing yourself. Like it's a reflection of who you are, and this is part of the element that is completely missing in the fashion industry right now. Um, the only designer that I think is still true to the aesthetic is Galliano. If you look at Magella, there is still this like Galliano's flair. Uh, but for the rest, it's really commercialized. There's nothing crazy about it. Even I used to be a big fan of McQueen, but even McQueen right now is really, really commercialized. There is nothing super fancy. There's nothing like the 2012 collection, like the futuristic collection, or there's one where all the outfits looks like Victorian outfits. You don't see that anymore because I think, and it comes to money, it always have to go for the things that make the most money. So that's all I can say. If you have any like comment, you can leave a comment as well. Um, but open call. Last call. Any questions regarding the open call? I don't want to like use up all your time, but then I just want to make sure that you guys get the right brief from me. Do you have any questions, or you have any questions related to fashion illustrations you want to ask me? If you don't have anything, then I probably will jump off. I will end this. It looks like everyone is good. No comments. All right. If that's the case, I'm going to end here. Patreon members, remember we have a special session this Sunday with the professor from Parsons. And also, if you have not voted for the winner, make sure that you go on and cast your vote. Um, the deadline's tomorrow, I believe. So make sure that you do so. In this case, I will see you guys later, and good luck with the open call. Can't wait to see your submissions. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.